Broadway, listen to the Broadway beat. Broadway makes you want to move your feet. Everybody's tapping into everything that's happening on Broadway beats. Broadway beats. Broadway beats. Broadway beat.
Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for Broadway Beat. Three-time Tony Award winner Frank Langella is back on Broadway in Roundabout Theatre Company's new production of Terence Rattigan's Man and Boy, directed by Mariah Aiken. And we're here at the American Airlines Theatre on opening night to celebrate with the company.
You like your two sons?
Oh, yeah.
They love you?
From time to time.
Well, then I suppose I'm a very bad man.
Oh, no. To be bad, you must at least have some idea of what badness is.
And I don't. Perhaps not. And yet I have a conscience. I must have, or I wouldn't have tried so hard to drive it away.
When did you have a conscience?
5 years ago. It came in human shape. And I did. I drove it away. Sven, am I what Vasily called me? Am I nothing?
You're Gregor Antonescu.
Tell me what attracted you to want to direct it, Mariah.
Well, first of all, the fact that it's still shocking, and period plays so often lose their power to shock us. Secondly, that it's so eerily apropos of our life and times now. And thirdly, that it gives a glorious acting opportunity to somebody of Frank's caliber.
Talk about working with Frank Langella, what that's been like directing him.
It's been really fun because I can say anything to him and he takes notes and we are very fearlessly frank with each other.
Well, I want to talk about how the play resonates now in 2011, why it works so well.
Well, it works so well, alas, because we're in a depression. And so the financial part of it resonates. I think that the family part, the father-son part, would resonate whenever we did it, because there will always be hideously powerful men with sons who are intimidated or bullied because of that. And I guess really with what you might call great men, whether they're criminal or not, the son is never satisfactory. If he does as well as you, he's not satisfactory, and if he does less well than you, he's not satisfactory. So there's always a psychological problem, I think, in that kind of situation.
What's the experience been like for you working on this?
It has been just so wonderful. I love working at the Roundabout and love working with Frank, and this cast is just splendid, and I get to work with most of them, it's a very complex, fascinating play that's very timely about finance and about relationships, and I'm just very proud to be in it. I think it came out of the oven pretty well, I think.
Without giving anything away, what can you tell us about your character?
I go toe-to-toe with Frank in a little play within the play in the first act that we wrestle about a number of issues, private and public, and has odd outcomes, and but all to the favor of Frank. So you'll have to see the show.
And what you love about this play, this is one of Terence Rattigan's lesser-known plays. I think it's brilliant.
Well, he wrote this play. They were considering him to be an irrelevant playwright after John Osborne's angry young man took over the West End and Broadway, and there's a general consensus that this was a response to that, and it was very difficult, very tough. It's a very nuanced play that's hard to catch on to. In lesser hands, I don't know if this would be as good a production. Mariah Aiken did this with David Suchet in London. Now she's doing it with Frank here. And I think in both cases, because I knew somebody in the cast back there, that it met with a lot more success than it did back in the 60s. I think we're a little more willing to look at the demon that Gregor Antonescu is, because we've experienced him in such a personal way, especially in New York most recently with someone like Bernie Madoff, and this was a historical figure actually that Mr. Rattigan dredged up and made the story about.
A bourbon and water, no ice.
No.
afraid I'll poison it?
I much enjoy American wisecracks, and it is absurd, isn't it? Sven watches over me like an hysterical mother, but there have been attempts to poison me. How many is it, Sven, over the years?
7?
Not to mention an attempted machine gunning once in Berlin, and then a very clever attempt to run me over with a truck. That was in Paris, I think.
Here in New York, April
A
31.
wonderful memory he has. And tonight, of all nights, there must be at least, 1,000 people. All of them bitter enemies, all of them powerful, all of them capable of murder, to whom my death would come as a pleasurable surprise. From that list, I entirely exclude you, Miss Benn. I can only apologize that Sven doesn't.
It's been a joy. The cast is incredibly talented, and Frank is a force of nature. Every show, every night is different, and it's very exciting. Mariah, our director, is the first female director I've worked with professionally, and I love her. She has bigger balls than any director I've ever worked with, and she's fabulous. I love it. It's been great.
What are the rehearsals like? Talk about the rehearsal process.
Very exciting. I'm only in the first 45 pages, so it was kind of bizarre for the first 3 weeks. I didn't see half of the cast because we're all in such different parts of the play. So it was really exciting in that final week when we started doing runs to be able to see this whole other part of the play that I'm not a part of and I didn't get to witness the incarnation of, and it was very exciting.
What can you tell us about your role and the play without giving it away?
I play a sassy young lady named Carol Penn. She is a hardworking theater actress. She works as an understudy and is trying to make it big in New York City, and is in love with the young Basil Anthony, which is the young boy in the play. And she loves him boldly and will do anything for him. So that's right.
And this is one of Terence Rattigan's lesser-known plays. I think it's one of his finest. What do you think of the play?
I love it. I'm so embarrassed to admit I really only knew him from Separate Tables. I'd seen the David Niven film years ago and I'd really enjoyed it. And so when I got the audition, I thought, well, goodness, I've never heard of this one. And it's delightful. I think it's very timely. I think it's shocking that it hasn't been revived before now. And I think Mariah is exactly the person to bring it to the stage, and Frank is exactly who needs to be playing Antonescu. He's phenomenal.
This has been a fantastic experience. I auditioned for the play a couple times, and then we started rehearsal. It's been a really great group to work with, and it's just been kind of fun to, create the play with this group of actors, to kind of figure out for me in my scene kind of what that level of frustration is with Frank's character, and kind of figure that out together, and then we get in the theater and it becomes a whole other thing. And so it's been fun to kind of, find those different things to play with and with each other. So it's been a blast.
What can you tell us about your role in the play without giving things away?
Without giving too much away, I play an accountant who's gone overseas to investigate a merger that is sort of at stake in the play. And there's a lot of money that I've found is potentially not there. And so I bring that up to Frank's character, Antonescu, and he basically is able to belittle me and kind of make me walk away with my tail between my legs, which kind of leaves my credibility in question. And so we kind of wonder if he's going to get away with this or if he's not by the end of the play.
I've loved every minute of it. I've loved every single minute of it. I've never done this before where I come in just in the second half. So, there's a whole act that you don't get to see, and there's this sort of mysterious other half going on, and then you learn about that. And the thing about my role is she's very much in a bubble. So she brings this whole piece of her life on stage, and it's about 15 minutes before the story overtakes Florence's world. So it's a nice sort of, it's just my own thing. I also come in 2 hours before I'm on stage, and I managed to fill every single one of those 2 hours, those minutes.
Tell me what you love about this play. Lesser known Rattigan piece, but brilliant.
It is brilliant. I love that it's all those sort of slightly cliche things, which is, it still works, it's still completely relatable to today, and people really love it. I found it fascinating. Mariah obviously finds it fascinating, and we all do. And like great things to work on, it gets better as you go. You find more things coming up, and you find deeper places to go, and that's when it's really fun. Like now, we're 4 weeks in to this run, and we're still in some ways just feeling like we're getting into it, and really happy to have 2 more months or whatever it is. Yeah.
You said I could have a personal. I told you the one I was getting.
Oh, so you did. Well, my dear, if he alarms you with these sorts of rumors, you're going to have to fire him.
I can't very well fire him.
Oh, yes. You told me that too.
I wish you'd tell me now what's going on.
I gather you didn't come by subway.
No, I wouldn't. I told Sergei if he was going to get me into a subway, he's going to have to knock me unconscious first.
And he didn't.
Tell me what attracted you to this play.
Well, I mean, first of all, father-son relationship, and I didn't really know anything about Terence Rattigan. I knew The Winslow Boy a little bit, but I didn't really know much about this play in particular. And then, working with Frank was definitely a big plus in Mariah. The 2 smart people kind of spearheading the project, so it felt like he was in safe hands. And father-son stories always are very interesting to me. So that, I guess, it was initially it attracted me. Then just having a job was the other, I think, impetus to be working.
It's been really a quite extraordinary experience in how difficult it was to uncover it. Really difficult. We played it blessedly for almost 4 weeks of previews, and we needed every one of them to try to find the tone. And I actually think we're still looking for the optimum of that. We're still looking to find the deepest, most profound way to play it emotionally, and yet to give it its sense of period and style.
What can you tell us about the man you play without giving too much away?
He's a monster. He's a killer. He's like anybody he's a sociopath, and I think in certain ways a psychopath. He just simply lives for one thing and one thing only, to keep amassing money and to do it on the backs of poor people. Now, we heard that before somewhere? Yeah.
Is that why you think it resonates so well to the audience of 2011?
Yeah. And also, he's based on several men of the period. A man named Ivar Kruger, who did kill himself during that period, I think shot himself. Yeah.
I love this play. I didn't know this play at all. It's one of Terence's lesser plays. It's brilliant.
It is. Yeah, it is. It's a wonderful play. Difficult. You have to listen. You have to really listen hard, but it's very rewarding, and luckily audiences do. Don't you want a drink?
No.
Well, that's interesting.
Why?
Our roles are becoming reversed. Who is now the strong and who the weak?
I can never be strong.
Oh, I don't know. Something tells me in the future you won't find it too hard to give up the bottle. Tell me, how much joy is there going to be in the socialist ranks at my downfall?
Quite a lot, I suppose. But if you fail, it will be because the system has failed, not you. And if you rose to be the greatest capitalist of all time, it was because instinctively you had to get your revenge on society.
Oh, why? What had society ever done to me?